Get Into Geek. This is episode 99. We are talking Stargate SG-1, a couple of old school Stargate fans introducing a new viewer to the show. We are the Get Into Geek team. My name is Mitch. Joining me, the old school fans, that is Matty.
My knob fell off.
Okay, Brendan,
leprosy
save us.
they call that.
G'day, guys.
And Rhys, keep digging up for us.
Wasn't my fault Matty's knob fell off.
Oh, what was it?
Not this time.
He was gentle with it. He was gentle. Rhys is our new viewer, and he has just watched this episode for the very first time. Season 5, Episode 10, 2001. And you and your Sherlockian ways last week, Rhys, said, hey, if it's a episode named after a year, we're talking time travel. Or were we? We kind of were. Let's get into it. The old physical media,
Hey guys,
which is how some of
we're
us are
time
watching
traveling
it.
right now.
Oh, we kind of are, actually.
Yeah.
Because we're not listening to this live. You're listening to this when
No,
we
I mean,
record
right
it,
now,
right?
we're traveling forward in time. We are traveling in time.
Yeah.
You know what? Well said.
Or not.
We're
1
always
second
are.
per second.
That's
Whoa.
it. If you factor in the rotation of the Earth, we're traveling through space and time.
I was just hoping that's where you were going because I was following with you. All right, the old synopsis on the back of the DVD. Let's see what it has in store and then see what Rhys thought of it. A mysterious note from the future, written by O'Neill, is sent back to 2001 through the Stargate, warning SG-1 about an unexplored planet with a sophisticated race of people who want to trade their knowledge for domination of the universe.
That note had nothing to do with this. That was all
Rhys,
in 2010.
Yep, we got the note 7 months ago, and the note said nothing about that. Forget about the lying synopsis. What did you think of the episode?
I liked it. I obviously I love 2010. That was 2010. But yeah, this one obviously, I mean, it had to be. Well, it was 2010 with us figuring it out ourselves, but obviously with the note being of utmost importance. But yeah, it was good. I loved it. And you know, everyone got to do their own thing. Tilk and Daniel in the hole.
So
with,
good.
that was great.
So good. Just
Go on
living,
The Iron Root.
just living his best life down there, eh?
Oh man,
Like,
it was good fun.
the entire
I'm going in
di-
Tilk.
Yeah.
I don't care.
the
And
entire
when he did that, I'm surprised Tilk didn't lock the door behind him and go, well, I've done it. Great tack. We got you a job, mate.
So fucking hot.
it's like,
damn
I do not get to kill him myself, but I know he will die slowly.
there's an entire there's a decimated society with nothing left, but within like 8 seconds Daniel manages to find the library and then manages to
Classic
find
nerd.
the newspapers
Yeah.
and finds the exact 3 newspapers that he needs
Yeah.
to sort everything out.
I love it how he's opened the cylinder and gone, I think these are newspapers. Well, that is such a reach.
These should be the last ones done. And I was
Yeah.
like, really, mate?
According to this.
I mean,
What?
They survived. All
we
those-
write books
Yeah.
left to right. You go to Japan, they write books right to left. So I was like,
Yeah.
how do you know which one's going to be the most recent, mate?
Yeah.
Mate, he knows 7 million languages.
Hey, he's down. Oh, look, I'm down for whatever Daniel does because he's, he
So
basically.
hot right now.
I want to say he saved the day, but then that kind of does discount what Carter did. Carter kind of saved the day. Like she went
Yeah.
hardcore and
Well,
saved
and-
it.
Oh, yeah.
Old mate, her former, future, alternate, whatever. I don't want to talk about those words. Husband, but I actually liked that in the first time we see him in 2010, he is this villain. He's not mustache twirling bad guy, but he's played a part in what's happening.
he was
to the
complicit
Earth.
in the
he was
act,
complicit.
yeah.
So if you're black or white, you're a bad guy. And
Yeah.
in this, it's like he gets to say goodbye to the show. As a good guy, gets to redeem himself, but he was redeeming.
Is it though?
To an audience member? Like he wasn't redeeming himself for any bad acts because he'd never done anything bad. But
But I mean, if Hitler in his when he was 18 saved a cat from a tree, and then died in the process, does he die hero?
It was a white cat.
Blue eyes, obviously.
Blue eyes,
Probably.
obviously. Because that was one of my notes. Is I'm like, okay, so Ambassador guy, does he die hero or is that just good riddance?
well, he had never done. He hadn't done the bad act.
Yeah,
so,
no one knew any different.
Yeah. That's what I like about this.
So
is
yes.
that to us,
Hero.
to us, it's kind of like the sequel that's a prequel, or maybe it's a prequel that's
I
a
knew
sequel.
you'd go
because-
I knew you'd
no,
go
but-
that way.
A
Well,
pre-sequel.
But no,
Yeah.
it's great because the note is like the time traveler, like it's come from the future, and it's like its future is in our past,
Rogue
but,
One.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Oh,
but
jeez,
like
come on now.
we're also in
better than that.
we're also in the alternate past. But I like that it was almost like that great line. I'm going to clean this up for you, Matty, from Days of Future Past that time is like a river. You can throw a stone and it ripples, but eventually the river's going to keep on flowing. And so a lot of the things
Throw a boulder in even.
Oh, absolutely.
Anything you
know,
want, dead body.
like-
I mean, bowling ball.
Sorry,
Throw a bowling ball.
Yeah, I knew that's where you're going. Yeah.
It just goes around it and goes over the waterfall.
It's just water, mate. Yeah.
It's inevitable.
And everything that happened in that old past of the future from 2010 was still kind of happening in different ways and obviously at a later date, but it was all still going to that future.
It makes me wonder when in the 2010 storyline did they meet the Ashen?
Yeah.
Was it today?
No. Remember, it was back at the end of 2010. That was that address that Hammond blocked out.
Yeah.
They were due to go on the next day. Because they
was it?
yes,
Yeah, or
because,
the next day or the next week. It was
is that what he said?
Yeah.
because
Right.
they meet the Ashen directly, whereas here they meet the
Yeah.
Ashen through the Volians.
Which was 7 months prior to this
Yeah.
episode.
yeah. So
Okay.
they were supposed to
So
meet the Ashen.
they got there, like Mitch said, but 7 months later.
Yeah, through the Volians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's obvious now watching it, and it is obvious when you watch it, but if you notice with the, what are they called? The Vorash or something?
the Volians.
The Volians. If they use the gas giant in their solar system to create a second sun.
Yeah, they're real one-trick ponies, aren't
And
they?
then that's what
Shen.
they were going to do in,
They're like,
in
like-
this one.
okay,
They're patient.
we'll,
They're patient even on themselves coming up with a new
yeah.
idea.
We'll build a second sun and we'll make you sterile. That's
Yeah.
our gear.
Yeah.
It's like we've got these weapons that could just wipe you out,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
we could
right.
just take over your entire
They're
planet. But
human
it's like
too, aren't
we
they?
want you as a workforce.
They
Yeah,
can't
but if-
use their biologics.
But they could just send it through the gate like they were going to do for us.
Yeah, true.
You know, they could just send it through the gate and they'd have this planet there ready to go. But I think they're just too lazy. They don't want to do the physical labor.
But in saying that, that's part of Arthur C. Clarke's 2001 Space Odyssey. 2010 Odyssey 2 is that they changed the gas giant into a star.
Oh, see, I've only seen 2001. I never saw any of the other ones.
Yeah, me neither, but I just read that, which I thought was kind of interesting because Carter actually does mention Arthur C. Clarke.
Mm.
Oh, does
she's-
she?
Yeah, when she's trying to get through and Jack's doing his usual.
Do you know, I was really confused with Jack in this episode because in the opener, before the credits, he's all like, Colonel, pack it up. We've done it. We've solved it. We've fulfilled our standing orders. And then straight after the credits, he's all Mr. Skeptical
he's
the
turned.
entire time. And I'm like, well, you came through the gate not skeptical one bit, and then apropos of nothing except for the opening credits,
No,
you
I
are
said
now...
don't trust anyone without a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which kind of,
That
I
boring
think
guy.
that line was, I think that line kind of was like, okay, he's turning, or he has his reservations, but he's kind of like, well, this is our orders, because he is a soldier by nature. So he's
But
like,
he
I've
was
got to
so
follow
like
the orders.
plucky and excited when he came through
Yeah,
the
you're
gate.
right. Yeah, it was probably played too much like that.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think it was maybe Richard Anderson just wanted to go for the joke, wanted to go for that light-hearted opener.
Oh, he's just
Yeah.
Yeah, I
mission
guess,
complete. I'm a good boy.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
all that pre-credits scene was meant to play up to the audience a bit
Yeah,
like
I
that. It's
think
like,
so.
holy shit, what they're excited. What are we supposed to get excited about? And even
You're
that-
excited.
Yeah.
Feel these nipples.
Who are these people? And even Carter's going, the Ashen, sir. They're called the Ashen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? When have you ever said anything twice like
Yeah.
that before? Like,
Yeah.
if this was the briefing room and we were after the credits, you would never be like,
Yeah.
the Volians. They're called the Volians. Like, I heard you
Yeah.
the first time.
And-
It's
and
like,
why
purely
did-
just for the audience to like build up the music and
Can you
you're
repeat it
like,
back to me, sir?
And why did Hammond care? Why would it matter? Hammond's like, okay, we're
Yeah.
going to debrief in
Ashen,
half an
great.
hour and I'll get
Is
your
that
report
two
anyway.
Ashes? No, I don't give a shit how it's spelled. Like,
It's like, well,
It's ASCHEN, sir.
at least
I
Hammond
don't
knows
care,
their,
Carter.
at least Hammond knows
Sir.
their name for the walk up the stairs. Like that's
Yeah,
really
right.
that's the only benefit it gave
true.
him to find out
Yeah.
who these people's names were. So
Yeah.
well, don't blow all my questions before the
Yeah.
debrief.
Yeah, it's like he
Just crosses off his one note.
He wants
What
to
else you
make a
got?
haiku about them quickly before the briefing.
yeah,
When he did get upstairs, he's talking to Walter. How good were Walter's coffee cup acting skills? Did
Oh,
anyone
some of the
notice that?
best.
okay.
Oh,
Well, did you
God.
notice the through line? Walter had his own arc in this episode.
Right.
I'll play the audio. I won't describe it. I'll just play the audio for you and let Peter DeLuise tell you all about it.
This is a through line for Gary Jones. In this episode, he was having constipation issues. And so in the first scene that we see him, the technician, he's drinking coffee to try to keep things moving. I'm
keep
suffering
things
from over there.
moving.
That's what Gary's saying right there. And eating his bran muffin.
So then he's eating a bran
Gary
muffin.
is behind Now he's drinking milk of magnesia.
The Pepto-Bismol.
The Pepto-Bismol, yeah. Because of his through line.
He's had an obsession
So
with poo, though.
it was
Yeah.
necessary because, look.
So do we.
We teed it up in the first act. He's got to get rid of the
Until this
toxins.
point, I did not understand why he was drinking that.
Thanks for
Absolutely.
clearing that up.
I told you it's a
always
decoy.
wondered why he had that in his hand. I'm surprised we weren't told to paint it out.
Well, he's got his problems too. He doesn't just open and close the iris.
He's a
Right?
human being.
He's a human being. He has needs.
He opens and closes his
and right
iris.
now they're not being met.
So if you go back and watch it, Rhys, you'll find, the start he's drinking coffee. The next time we see him, he's eating a bran muffin.
Yeah, that's in the same scene because they
Right.
pan
No,
away.
they're separated.
No, because he comes up with the coffee and then it goes over to
No, I think
Carter
I
and
think
that,
no, I
and
think
then
they
it
cut
comes
back to
back?
the Ashen and then come back. There is a time cut in
okay.
there, yeah.
okay.
And then at I even marked it. If you go to 26 minutes and 50 seconds, when like Sam, Jack, and Hammond are having like a really intense scene in the briefing room. If you look in the background through the star map, you can see Walter drinking his pink Pepto-Bismol in the background, just trying to get
Did not
things
see that.
moving. That's why I love Peter DeLuise
Excellent.
when he just puts shit like that in.
If we just keep this recording to a minimum too, because I've got my own through line happening throughout this podcast. If you catch my drift.
See what you
Ice.
did there.
He's
your
he's
iris
actually
is opening.
turning. He's actually
Yeah.
turning.
Ice.
He's touching
Yeah.
cloth.
Your chevron's locked.
It's ready to go. Yeah, dial.
So go back to the start, Rhys, when it says previously on SG1, and then it's 2010. Did you lose your shit when they threw the note through? You're like, oh, we're going to get some resolution on this?
Yeah, no, I was pretty excited. I didn't lose my shit, but I was pretty excited too that it was gonna.
Is that
have
just to
some-
tease Mitch? Is that phrasing just to tease Mitch?
Kept my shit in my bunghole.
But yeah, I was like, obviously, 2001, as we said.
Yeah,
at the top
I
of the
thought
show.
yeah, the name would
It's,
have been a giveaway
the
before.
time travel episodes. But yeah, I thought, oh, excellent. It's got to do it like it's linking up with 2010. So
Yeah.
I thought that is
it-
going to be pretty.
Is it
sweet.
safe to say you were so excited you were just on the couch just clenching? Just clenching?
Yeah, you had to close the iris.
Clenching tight?
It's not the same as when you need to do a piss and then people pouring water and shit.
Yeah, that sphincter's tight. I know from experience.
Wow. Graphic.
But at the start when they said,
That means I was f***ing Mitch in the arse.
Oh, we got it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got it.
yeah.
I tuned that out, and now I
Oh, really?
really can't.
Yeah. Where was I? At the start, the Ashen said, I think Carter said the Ashen won't reveal their planet location until after the deal is struck. So, obviously that was just for plot. But who were the friend of a friend that they introduced?
The
them through?
Volians.
Yeah.
So
you know, old mate, Keel.
They went to that planet,
The dopey prick.
that farm
and his
planet.
people, whoever they were.
Oh, I got a best jug of my
the only one.
yeah. You got a jug of my best Sweetwater in it for him if you can do it.
I was an orphan. Yes, because your parents died.
Yeah. So
Well, that's usually what an orphan is, mate.
he works for the
Yeah,
Ashen. So
by
the
them.
Ashen.
By your step parents.
We're killed, is what you were trying to say.
So we went and visited the
Murdered.
Volian planet, and they're like, "Oh, hey, we're part of this confederation. Our bosses are actually the Ashen, and they run this
Right.
small system of planets that we go through." And it's like, okay, well, if you want to be our friends, you got to be friends with the Ashen, and then that's how they get introduced to the Ashen and find out about all the.
So essentially, the Volian is, like you said, just a small village of farmers.
Just a farming planet, yeah. Basically, they're killing.
They
off-
weren't before.
Just
No.
bred them out.
Yeah, so they're
Well-
the equivalent of what we would have ended up in like 2020. You know, if we
And the Ashen were just doing that just to get more farming planets, basically.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
if you looked at all the those harvesters, so they had all the Volians were doing all the farm work, you know, producing all this, you know, grain or whatever it was that they were doing.
Yeah.
And then the harvesters were just coming harvesting it all and dumping it through the gate
To
for
sustain
them.
the life on their world.
Cool
Yeah.
gate tech though with the arm. That was I
Oh,
dug that.
yeah.
I
was
did
awesome.
That was
notice,
so
and
sick.
honestly, it's the first time I've ever noticed it, and it's only because we mentioned it back in Exodus. But if you look closely, that gate only has 7 chevrons, not 9. And I was like, oh!
Yeah, I was looking at the CGI. It's all CGI'd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's unfortunate. Because that is a cool shot.
I'll tell you what, we could. I mean, not to
Even
not to-
under the clamp. Did you count that one?
No, yeah, well, no, I looked and the clamps were kind of on either side. So,
Right.
yeah, they're only 7. Yeah.
Were they just not lit up?
Well, no, you should be able to see them still. Like when it came up out of the ground,
Right,
you
yeah.
should be able to see.
Did they make
Mine.
it themselves? No.
No.
No is the answer.
They only,
I'll answer that
they
one for
only
you.
know like 3 addresses and they don't have a DHD. How's this? We had a... oh, no, that's right. They did explain that the reason we were able to travel all the other places is because we had the cartouche.
Stellar Drift, mate.
Yeah.
What I didn't understand with that Stargate at the end when we talked about Carter and her boyfriend, new boyfriend / ex-husband,
Yeah, another dead
/
guy.
future husband.
Guy that she
Yeah.
liked that's dead again.
Yeah,
Two
why did
weeks
he
in a
have to
row.
die? Why did he have to die? That's
Well,
what
did
I
he
didn't
die?
understand.
We
Or
didn't
did
see
he?
him. We just
Well,
saw him tackle
yeah, I
Boren
guess.
or whatever it
I
was.
mean, I guess they would have dialed the black hole, and then they would have
and
died.
then he would have died.
Again,
they get done.
Because
But-
we never
Never
see him again.
And I want to go back to the timeline in
Before you do, why didn't he just jump off that balcony and then Carter let go of her rope
He would have died. Died on
Why?
impact. Like Happy
Into the
Gilmore's
Stargate.
girlfriend.
Into
into the Stargate?
Why didn't he just climb
Yeah,
down the
into the
rope?
wormhole.
Like,
No, he would have died on Earth.
but
No, he
what
wouldn't.
was what were they going to like?
Why
She
not?
was hanging down the rope, just waiting till they were in position to
Yeah, it didn't seem like she went
um,
far down.
to open the.
The
It
iris.
seemed unnecessarily showy. Couldn't they have just like
Yeah.
Anyway,
They wanted it
so
to be like a
she-
matter of time.
Yeah, she opened the iris, and then it's like, well, why wasn't he just hanging on the rope? Well, if Boren shows up, what's Boren gonna do?
Yeah,
Like,
he doesn't have a knife.
He doesn't have a switchblade that he's gonna pull out and cut the rope on him,
No.
Yeah.
and he's not gonna be strong enough to pull them up.
He doesn't even have a sharp wit.
So right,
And even if he
little
did,
pun there for
like they just fall through. I guess that's
Yeah.
for me. It's kind of like there was no wide shot to show how far above the Stargate they were. Like they
well, they had to be close because remember she could tell while she's hanging there. She was looking over the
yeah.
balcony and she's like, oh, they're dialing Earth.
Yeah.
So they had to be bloody close for her,
Her
to
ass
see what
had to
chevrons
get-
they're dialing.
Her ass nearly got done by the vortex.
Yeah.
So yeah, it couldn't
Yeah.
have been too far away.
Yeah.
And
Well, even so, even if you're traveling at pace, you're only going to be coming out of the gate in Earth like a meter
yeah,
or
the
two
gravity
off
would
the ground.
change.
Yeah,
direction.
I guess if she'd again, if we bring back Days of Future Past again, with Blink with her little wormholes and stuff, where she like if you launch from too high, you're going to gain too much momentum as you go through, and she would have like shot through the gate on our side and
Yeah.
like splattered up against the control room window or something if she'd had sort of too much pace. So I
Yeah.
guess that's why she got as close as possible to the event horizon.
But then when she said to him, like, what was like, only do what I tell you when I tell you to do it, and then she's like, now, and I'm like, all right, so like, what? And with him, like, was that what he was gonna do? Like, if push came to shove,
Yeah,
was he
what-
just gonna have to like do some sick launch?
That's why I think it was.
God
Yeah,
knows
why
if
didn't he?
like dives off like an Olympic diver hands first, because he would have then went straight.
Would have been
through
funnier
Hammond.
if he'd gone to tackle that
boring guy.
that Boren guy, but he slipped because of his bad shoes. that would have been fun.
That would have been
He just
yeah,
fell over,
nice tie-in.
face planted, like cracked his nose open. There's blood everywhere. Then Boren slips on the blood. No, I'm running a comedy here, aren't I? I'm running a slapstick Adam Sandler. No, I just think
Why did he
they'll-
throw Boren into the Stargate?
Yeah, exactly. I think they were
Why
just
did-
trying to.
Like, surely he's been in a schoolroom brawl before. Like, surely Boren won't be able to beat him up.
I just think they were trying to
Dude,
unnecessarily redeem
As
him.
if he would be in a fight. He would have been the end of a fight.
Who? Carter's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a
I-
sook.
I guess I was just thinking. I was like, oh, maybe it's
I know how
'cause-
to curl up into a really tight ball.
I was just thinking it's like, oh, they needed to unnecessarily redeem him, like, and I don't know why. But then I was thinking about it, and if you really think about it, it's like, well, for Carter to be interested in him in any way, he had to have some redeeming factors, like for them to be together and get married and stuff
Yeah.
in the other.
But when you think about it, they never really went through with this treaty or this agreement. And I think, prior to that happening, like we're looking at the 2010 guy who's gone through it, and his bosses have said, look, you got to do this. This makes sense. They convince him into do it. But at this point in time, they haven't got to that point yet. So he's just like, when he finds out, it's sort of a all of a sudden thing with no one to convince him that it's right. Which is I guess you could call it redeeming because we've had that previous episode, but at the same time, I guess he's just not at that point yet.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like, I guess a lot of people would think, okay, why would Carter be with a guy like that? But he obviously has to have some redeeming value, so I think that's why.
Yeah.
And obviously they just wanted to kill off another potential love interest for Carter so that
Yeah.
the
Give her
Carter
a
and
week's
Jack
rest,
flame,
though, I mean.
right?
You know.
And the irony being that the meeting room in the Harvester was a redress of the room from Ascension,
Yeah, right.
where she first met Orlin, like when he came and touched her and
Yeah.
she passed out. That sounds wrong.
Yes. But we know what you mean.
So it's like that room and dead Carter lovers just go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was the least creepy guy that's been interested.
definitely. He was just he was just okay with genocide. That was the only downside with him. It was like,
Yeah, it's the small things,
he was
mate.
okay with, wiping out his own species.
Yeah, making his own wife barren.
Yeah. He's like, you mean I get to have sex with Carter and not knock her up? Yes, win.
Sign me
No
up.
kids. Yes.
And I get the Fountain of Youth. It just keeps getting better. It freaked me out when he goes, I think you'll find we're a very patient people.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, you sure are. Like,
Yeah.
like centuries
Right.
patient.
Except for like right at the end when it's like their plan's fucked. And then it's like, bioweapon through the gate now! It's
Now,
like,
kill them instantly.
It's like
wow,
their
yeah.
go-to move.
Yeah.
Kill him.
And it's like they already had the weapon programmed for humans, like for our world. It's like
Just in
case.
ready to go.
Yeah.
Sorted, contingency
Yeah.
plan sorted.
Yeah, and then at the end where he says to Carter, well, we've already got what we want. We got the
Yeah.
cartouche. And then at that point, obviously before we find out that O'Neill says, yeah, I've given him all the shit planets anyway. But yeah, at that point I'm like, oh dang, like
Yeah.
they've got it now. What are you going
We're
to do?
fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was such a great line though. He's like, oh, God, I hope they don't go to the, or Daniel says, oh, God, I hope they don't go to the addresses we did give them. He's like, oh, well, it's a black hole, the first one. I'm like, oh, you didn't. He goes, and it gets
Yeah.
progressively darker after that. And I'm like, what the hell is worse than a black hole?
Well,
Like-
the next one is the original Tolan planet that's all just volcano.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the black hole planet's their go-to planet now.
Yeah, it's gotta
Like,
be.
we just get rid of them. Yeah, black hole planet. Yeah, excellent.
Poor old SG, what were they?
Yeah, what's 6?
Oh, Brendan didn't know that.
SG.
Who
was the
died
black
on
hole
the
planet?
black
Yes,
hole
you-
planet?
6.
I think it was 3.
Yeah, okay. I was thinking SG3 are like, they're still dying. And then,
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Back to the timeline, yeah.
we were just joking, like, that's their go-to whenever they want to fuck their enemies off. Like, they just send them back to there. It's like, SG3, like, they're still dying. And, so we've had Colonel Backstory come through. We've had, like, lava come through at one stage, haven't we? Or, like, no, the Iris come through,
The
like,
Iris come
decapitated
through,
people.
decapitated them.
Whatever else has
Shattered
happened.
glass went
Shattered
through.
glass.
That was
Colonel
all then.
Backstory's dead
Backstory
body.
went
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
And then...
Well, I don't think he died until the corona from the sun came
yeah,
through.
fair
Sorry, there's that too. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that happened.
And then Boron's just come on through. And just gone, oh, shit.
Shit.
We are very patient. So you're going to have to be, mate, because you're going to be dying for the next 1,000 years.
Here's a bit of fun trivia for you, though. Mollum, the other guy who we first saw in 2010,
Yeah.
he actually voiced the head Asgard in Red Sky, the one with the little gem on his
Ah.
chest, the main Archon guy.
No wonder he was a prick.
Yeah, pretty much.
I hated that guy.
It was SG10.
Oh,
I got there.
turns out Rhys has been paying attention to his notes.
I think it was
been
3.
taking notes.
I don't know.
There's lots of them.
There are at least, I think there's 23 or 24 by
At
the end.
least. 25.
I noticed when they were trying to find the Ashen's homeworld, Carter goes to Walter, how much longer? And he's like, the computer's doing its calculations. We should know by tomorrow. Right? So we're only looking at a radius of 300 light years from that planet because that's what she said you can dial.
Yep.
And so once that's calculated, you can see 300 light years of that planet. All those ones in the Confederation are right there on the star map because they go back to the star map every time. I'm like, what a piece of shit computer. There's 7 planets that it needs to find, and it's going to take a whole day.
Mate, they're running Microsoft. So they're
Windows.
running. Look,
Really?
this was done in
Windows
2001,
97.
so they're running Windows 98 or something.
But shouldn't they could have just got a ruler and gone, relatively, it's within this radius.
Yeah, but that star map is pretty convenient considering it's all done with like whiteout tape. It doesn't show the entire universe, like the entire Milky Way galaxy. I feel
Clearly
like
it does.
Plus, you know,
map.
Walter's up to like level 12 of Doom 95, so the
Yeah.
RAM's really slowed down the computer.
And it's
It'll
like-
take tomorrow. I'll stay here and watch it. Just like,
Yeah.
IDKFA, God mode.
I
Walter's
feel
going to
like-
be here all night.
you think it'd make sense if there was like a little room somewhere, like a back room in the SGC, where someone is just taking every address we have from the Abydos cartouche and the addresses that O'Neill gave us from the Repository of Knowledge and working out their position in the galaxy. But I don't think they do that. It's just they don't worry about its
Yeah.
position in the galaxy
Till they go
until
there.
they decide they're going to go there. And then they punch the coordinates in and figure out where it's going to go. So that's why I
Yeah.
reckon it took them a day, is because it's like, well, there was, you know...
So they figure it out when the wormhole opens to that Stargate, or they figure it out.
Oh, maybe in
On
the
the day.
couple of days prior or something like that. Yeah,
You'd think
to
they'd
figure
have.
out.
There's
You'd
no
think they'd
real
have
way they
someone,
can figure it out.
someone sorting that out.
Well, it depends. If I think in SG1, there's probably no real way to do that. But then if you factor in the movie, where it's like it's a set of coordinates based on star locations, it's like, well, maybe you could. But it's that grey area. It's, you know,
Yeah.
shades of grey, if you will, on whether or not they can work it out or not. But the more fun thing for me was, did you guys realize the newspapers that Daniel Jackson found? Did you know that they're written in a code you can actually decipher and you can read them?
Yeah, I did read
No.
that somewhere.
So, all they've done is that for each letter of the English alphabet, they've moved them all one space.
To the letter previous.
So, yeah. So, I'll be a little bit off mic here, but I've got the whiteboard behind me.
Oh, look, we got this on video.
Oh, great. Oh,
gonna be
God.
so
I
good.
forgot I was being filmed. Okay, I'll take this off. Okay, so the name of the newspaper
Yes.
that Daniel holds up looks like this.
God, this is just like watching Daniel at the start of every episode. This is amazing. You've been preparing for this for 20 years.
Dr. Jackson.
1 second. 1 second.
Just wait 1 minute. Is it 3.14?
Okay, so that's the three words that is the name of the newspaper.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you move all those letters one backwards...
Now, what is that third one? It's UIX, is it? Or an 8 with the
What?
the third letter?
That's an
Yeah.
F.
Is
Oh,
that
okay.
I thought that was an 8.
Fuck off.
I thought, oh,
yeah,
that must be
I
7.
thought it was too. I thought it was Rene Aubergenois.
Ah, the Volian voice.
The Volian voice.
That's a good name for a paper. Cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I loved how they caught him out. Can you just
Oh, yeah.
Read this aloud for
yeah?
me.
How
And then-
pissed off do you think old boring
Oh, so
Bourne
good.
would
Yeah.
be with that guy? Because read this. It's like, oh, yeah. Was it sterility?
Yeah.
It's like- and he's
Yeah.
like, you.
Yeah, he looks at him going, "What the?"
Yeah.
We nearly had this. We
Yeah.
nearly had this.
Like, man, that's our thing. That's our plan. That's our MO. That's the only weapon we've got against people.
Yeah.
Is making them sterile. We're trying to keep this shit on the DL.
Yeah.
Oh, read this. Sterile. Oh, damn it.
Yeah, and for a second I was like,
Oh.
oh, maybe Boren doesn't know. Maybe Boren doesn't. He's not as a high enough pay grade to know that that's the master plan.
Yeah, right.
But then you realize, like, after he's like, no, he's just a dumbass. Like he
Yeah.
knew.
I just liked
Yeah.
how Carter said, "Boren, can you read this aloud for me?"
Yeah, it's like
Instead of like,
obviously.
you know, yeah, but
I
it's like
really
the
wanted-
way her wording was. It was
Translate.
like, he's like, "Oh, yes, I can."
Seriously.
Something exciting.
if this was Robot Chicken, that's when Admiral Akbar jumps in the room and goes, "It's a trap."
yeah, right.
Like, come on, man. But that's Boren for you.
Classic Boren.
Classic Boren.
What a tool.
I'm glad he's dead.
Or is he?
Or
Yeah,
is
he is.
Yeah, he is. They're all dead.
Kinsey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kinsey.
Oh man,
Oh, I love to hate that.
Look,
Oh.
he's just so easy to hate.
Yeah.
You just listen to him talk, and you just want to just rip his face off.
Yeah. Did
Just,
you
ugh.
did you like O'Neill's little thing to him at the end? He's like O'Neill, 2 L's.
Yeah,
So it's like
Three fingers.
Investigation.
that middle finger isn't an L,
Read
mate.
between the lines, mate.
Yeah.
I love that, like, where he's heading along and then it's the cast, or the guy's like, no, we're picking someone up. And it's like, oh, shit, this is some secret government business, whatever, The window goes up. Kinsey just hops in and he goes, hello, Hutch. or is it Starsky? And I'm like, oh, you smart ass bitch.
I hate him so much.
And then just the like he's got to go for a scotch as well, and it's just like, really, mate?
He doesn't
Really?
offer him one.
Yeah.
Oh no, he did. That's right. I'm still on duty. It's like,
But it's like it wasn't even his. It wasn't his limo. It was O'Neill's limo.
Yeah.
And it's like, really, mate?
And I was ready to yell at him because he does the same old shit that he's done before. Where he's like, Colonel, we have experts and they know things. I'm like, no, they don't. They only know based off the shit that O'Neill and his people provide them.
That sounds like a Trump. That sounds like a Trump line.
Yeah.
We have
Nobody knows the
experts
Stargate.
and they know things.
Yeah.
Nobody knows the Stargate better than
They
I
know
do.
other things. They
I
know
won't
the
go into
best
what they know.
things.
I won't go into it.
We are
but they
very advanced. Very advanced.
And he says that note that was received through the Stargate was written in some kind of ink, blah, 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 that, well, they say it hasn't quite been invented yet.
Yeah.
And then rather than be like, you know, how is this put together or anything like there's some stuff we don't believe about it, it was just, what's the future like, Colonel? And he's like, oh, shit, no, that's what you think, is that he's you're always thinking someone's hiding some shit from you. So, like, I took it at face value that he's looking at O'Neill going, you have been to the future.
Yeah.
And you know, that's what so you
He has.
Which is the miscommunication, though, because it's like Kinsey believes that O'Neill has been to the future and retains memories of it, yet is skeptical when O'Neill says, because of what I know, you shouldn't be getting in bed with the Ashen. So it's like, how does Kinsey not?
No, but Kinsey's read the report from 1969 when they did go to 2070 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
When Cassandra was old as
And
so he's gone. They know how to travel. They know they're doing time travel
doing
there.
this. Yeah.
that's what Kinsey was saying. Like, Jack, I think you do know, and you're just warning me not to go there because I'm president, and you don't want me to be president.
No, they don't know about
But
that.
he didn't know that.
No, this is what he was saying to him in the limo.
Yeah,
He's
because
saying-
remember he wanted to become president.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that's the context. Matty was saying how he's skeptical of what O'Neill's saying. And it's because of that, because he thinks that O'Neill's being selfish and he hates Kinsey, and Kinsey for some reason thinks that he's going to be president in the future. And he's like, that's
'cause
why
he's running.
Yes, I know. Missing the point.
No, I'm not.
That's why I'm saying that's why he's skeptical of Jack, even though he thinks that Jack went forward in time and saw and then came back. He thinks the reason O'Neill's saying, no, don't do it, is because Jack hates Kinsey.
Yeah, which is just so self-centered and just like, mate, it's not about you. It's never been about you.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he
Fuck
mentioned
off.
God too at one point.
Oh, he has to
Oh, yeah.
every time, doesn't he? He's got a
I
God's
liked-
green earth or some
Yeah.
crap.
Yeah.
I think I just like the way
Oh
that
man, he had to say. It.
the treaty process went along, because obviously as we're following SG-1 when they're learning stuff, they're dialing the gate, and then they cut it off, and Hammond cancels the team that are about to go through the gate.
Oh, yeah,
and
they're
you're like,
going to
oh,
search the other three planets.
Yeah,
and it's because they're believing the stories and the doubt about the Ashen. Oh, this is good. It's like no. If you go and investigate them, it will actually jeopardize our treaty with them. It's like completely in the opposite direction of what SG-1 are starting to think that they need to achieve. It's like, shit.
Yeah, it's like, no, we want to drop to our knees and lick the
hungry are
Ashen's
you?
balls,
Yeah.
so you need to just not go and offend them.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Kinsey says, this is going to be a good day in history. Hammond's like, let's hope so. And then Kinsey goes, no, I'm talking about your retirement.
Oh,
and
what a
then
tool.
walks off, and I'm like, oh, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
Hate you.
Worthless
Yeah.
piece of shit.
Although it's not the most inconsiderate thing that went down in that gate room in this episode.
No.
Carter saves the day, saves the entire planet.
Oh, yeah.
No one gives a shit.
No.
Now, the fans had a question about this ensuing scene. Carter falls through the gate,
Yes.
but no one from the team goes over to check on her condition. See, she falls through,
They just watch her fall.
close the
Very
iris,
Good point.
and
What was the
Medics.
director thinking in that moment? They don't. They
and
don't
basically
even
they look
care.
at the iris,
They're just
and
watching.
she's lying there.
What was exactly going
Nobody
through the
cares
director's
about
mind
it.
at that point? There's
Do the
obviously
fans
a
really
reason.
notice that?
Yes,
There was
in
obviously
fact,
a
that's one of
reason.
the things that.
Yeah, they were all in a particularly ornery mood that day, and I tried to get them to show more interest in her, but they They really didn't care.
Refreshingly honest.
I said, look, you guys look like you're completely uninterested in the fact that she maybe has a broken shoulder. And the best I was able to get out of any of the three of them was that O'Neill inquired as to how she was doing. You know, hey, how you doing there? Here.
Carter, you all right?
Carter, you all right? That was the best I could get out of them. I tried to get them to kneel around her and, show some sort. Are you okay? But I guess their point was, well, even if we did kneel down,
what good would it do?
What good would it do? It's like, it might give the illusion that you cared that she was hurt. But they couldn't be bothered that day, I guess. Hammond was definitely looking at her, but he's a general. He can't very well kneel if no one else is going to
kneel down. And
well, saying to be the devil's advocate, I mean, she's an airman. She's a soldier, sport. So what? If it was Jack come flying through like that or Teal'c, they would have been like,
I'm
meh.
pretty sure they have done that. When Jack's come flying through, they've all run down to, cradle his neck
probably
to
in
make
season
sure
one,
he's
when they cared.
But it's like she's just saved the world, rolled through the gate, all the way down the ramp, probably cracked a rib.
But they didn't know why.
Whatever.
The thing that annoyed me the most about that scene, Daniel didn't care what the word meant. Yeah. Wouldn't that be the first thing that Daniel said? So what was the word? It was sterility.
Oh.
They never found out.
No, I can see a deleted scene where she's like, in the infirmary.
Shut the iris.
In
it
bed,
was sterility.
In bed, Daniel brings her a bag of macaroons and is just
right.
Oh, by the way, what was the word? What was it being?
Sterility.
And he'd be like, whoa.
Yeah. Then he walks out back to his lab carrying the macaroons because that's all he came in for.
He comes in and goes, "What's up, Carter?" And she goes, "Sterility." And he's like, "What?" No, that was the word.
Yeah. And at the end,
Right.
at the end, O'Neill says, "You did good, Carter." And then how does he know that she did good?
Yeah, right.
Maybe there was nothing wrong and she stuffed it up.
She's she's rolled through and said, "Close the iris." Yeah. The next words out of her mouth could have been, "They've declared war on us. Yeah. They're coming. Yeah. They're going to destroy us all."
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. DeLuise there talking about how that they didn't really care about Carter. Nobody cared about old mate being left back there. Like,
oh God, they didn't even ask about. Yeah.
She's like, "I'm so sorry. I just didn't have time for the ambassador. I'm sorry." They're like, "That's okay, as long as you're okay." But we don't really care about that yet.
We'll just get another one.
He was a pussy.
But it's not even like, let's stage a rescue. What's the state of the planet? How is he? Was he alive the last time you saw him? Like, we obviously know, we saw him, do this little hero farewell when he and Boring fell back into the ship. But it's not like that bioweapon affected them. Like, he dropped it through the gate and it hit the iris, so it didn't materialize on our end. It can't bounce back through. So that bioweapon didn't affect anyone. So that planet is still there. He's still there, probably being tortured by these people. But do we care about rescuing him? Who? Forget about him.
What?
Scratch that planet back off
Carter's
the list again.
injured, guys. We've got to get her to the infirmary.
Yeah, once we care about her.
Now they care.
He'd just be holding a pitchfork, just gardening on that planet now.
Yeah.
Just holding out for a jug of that sweet water.
We need a new farmer.
They just lobotomise that they're captors and captives and.
Sometimes I get jealous or defensive of Carter every time there's a love interest. I don't know, maybe it's kind of like a brotherly thing where I'm like, none of these guys are ever good enough, but probably because I wanted to hook up with Jack so hard.
Yeah, even Jack's not good enough for her. Controversial, I know, but,
Whoa.
Wow.
Well,
how much better do you have to get?
What are they going to talk about? Think about it.
DeLuise in here.
After they're over-banging each other, like once the lust period is over, what are Jack and Sam going to talk about? What's their pillow talk like?
Yeah.
She's not going to be able. He's not going to be able to communicate with her on an intellectual level in any way, shape, or form. Well, see, she's going to say stuff, and he's going to go, "Oh, Carter, take your top off."
I think they're probably right at that classic thing, but a man and a woman, like, if they're going to get together, like Jack, if they were suddenly, they could just go to a courthouse and go, "We're married," he would keep their relationship exactly the same. Like, he'd still go, and go fishing at his cabin, and she'd be there. They'd just be having the same old nothing conversations. Whereas she wants to be romance. She wants to be swept off her feet by a lovely man. She spent her whole life working hard. She wants to just be a real person, have a real relationship, and progress and find out different things about each other.
He could be a stay-at-home daddy.
She wants to be a woman about it. He wants to be a man going, "Oh, I like you how you are, and we're done. I'm not changing, you're not changing." So you're right. Maybe the relationship she deserves better, but I stand by Jack as being the man.
I don't know.
He's not going to try and
He's
change her.
I've
She's
always-
not going to change him.
Yeah, he doesn't want to change her.
No,
I've never voiced this, but I've always secretly wanted Sam and Daniel. I think
God,
those
that's
two.
weird, man. It's
Gross.
like brother and
Yeah,
sister.
yeah,
No,
exactly
see, I
what's
don't get a
gross.
brother and sister vibe from those two. I get a brother sister vibe from Mitchell and Sam in a few seasons'
Yeah.
time. I definitely get a
'Cause
brother
they're the
sister
same
vibe
rank.
there. But yeah, I think those two are actually like intellectual equals. Yes, not on necessarily on the same topics, but they. From a psychological point of view, they both land in the same sort of era.
I think they'd do each other's head in trying to figure out who's better.
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely.
Daniel would be like, obviously, I
Season-
need the more bathroom time.
Season 1 Carter would have. Defensive
His hair
season
doesn't
1
brush
Carter.
They would spend all their lives correcting each other.
No. No, because
I don't think so, Daniel.
think
neither
you'll
of them
find-
knows what the other
Sam, I
one's
think you'll
talking
find that I'm
about.
correct.
Let's look again.
Season 1 Carter would have, like, because she was all defensive. It was like, oh, my reproductive organs are on
Yeah.
the inside. And
Daniel,
all
you have
that
to stick
stuff.
it on the inside. Oh, I'm
jeez.
sorry.
Sorry.
I haven't done this before.
I haven't done this with someone from this planet before.
Yeah, I haven't done this with someone
Is
who's
that where
not
it is?
3,000-year-old mummy before.
Usually I'm married to someone when I'm sleeping with someone.
And they're from another planet.
I've never slept with someone whilst being single. It's weird.
Ooh,
Gross. From Earth.
Ugh. Jesus. I mean, all the STDs they're on it.
Yeah, gross.
You're
Totally
still
gross.
barren, right?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I can whip this off, yeah? Not a problem.
I need a little bit of electricity through my symbiote, if you know what I mean, to keep it alive.
What do I have to pull out for? So, yeah.
It feels like I'm in
I
a threesome
feel-
with you and Joel and I.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I feel defensive of Carter, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you're totally honest. Yeah, definitely.
I'll get some of your protein, you get some of mine.
Oh, shit.
It's fun because it'll never see the light of day.
Won't
Oh,
it?
you'd be
will it?
surprised.
Yeah, when we're finished,
We make back-end DVDs.
bonus content.
So I like the concept that potentially that city, underground city, was there 200 years ago, like a flourishing metropolis, and now not even old Keel remembers
Yeah.
what it's about.
The Ashen have just basically just plowed over the whole thing.
Yeah, but he has no memory. It's like 3 people ago, you know, and it's
3
just
generations.
it's just like nothing.
Well, you destroy the paperwork and, you know, you don't know how the pyramids are built.
True.
Ninjas.
Ninjas do everything.
Could also be they plowed over that city and he's not actually from that world. He could be from another world.
Yeah, that's true.
And they've just
I'm an orphan.
yeah.
I'm a stupid orphan.
But I remember how to make Sweetwater
Do I ever?
by the jug.
Shit, I had another page.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, it's nearly done.
Yeah, I'm well and truly done. I've got a little bit in here if you guys wanted a bit of Walter trivia, but that's about it.
Well,
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, okay, all right. Do you guys want some trivia about good old Walter?
no thanks, mate.
No, not really.
Oh,
It's time to find out if Rhys been paying attention.
Fuck you, cunts. I fell right into that one.
Oh, fuck.
Wow.
That's too easy.
I can already tell you both of your parents made you wrong.
I was ready to fire off your opener and everything. Even I got stuck in it.
Oh, allow me. Wheeling the piano, boys.
Oh.
I'm confused. We've done 2 openers
the
now.
fire, it's time for another reading with high pitch.
I'm confused because
Graham.
technically this is, you know, we're inside has Rhys been paying attention time. This is
we
confusing.
haven't seen Graham for a while. How are you,
Yeah.
mate?
How's the old nutsack?
Yeah, I know. He wears a lot less in summer, doesn't he? like, I like, Graham, what I like is
hold on, hold on.
tuxedo shorts. But
This shows what kind of wavelength you two are on. Brendan out of nowhere says,
Not out of nowhere.
how's the nutsack? And you reply with, oh, obviously, because he's not wearing any shorts because it's hot. How the hell were you two even on that
Mate,
same wavelength?
Tuxedo shorts.
Bros for life.
Well, it's summer.
grade
That's
12
amazing.
English, mate. This is
That
our
is
gear.
amazing.
Summer plus
They
the
work
fire.
Yeah.
Wow.
You get them balls. Plus, remember last time I was under the piano giving him a bit of how's your father?
But that's what I mean. That's what the joke could have. You could have been talking about servicing his balls, but he went straight to, oh no, it's hot. He's wearing
Hey,
shorts.
I'm happy to roll with it.
Seamless. I'm amazed. Anyway, we're going to run out of music, but it's fine. The biggest thrill for director Peter DeLuise was the discovery of one of the most elusive secrets in the universe. We think we found out what the technician's name is. When someone calls him Walter and the technician confirms that might be his name, it could be a bit of a red herring, because in fact his name is Norman.
What?
Labouring under the illusion that the world needs to know this, DeLuise reveals, okay, it's actually Norman Walter. The technician's name is Norman... The technician's name is Norman Walter.
Graham, can we... I mean, we've banked up a fair bit of time throughout the
Yeah,
throughout the season.
Don't be
can
like
you just
that.
keep going?
Come back.
As a favour, thanks.
Oh, thanks, mate. We know that his last name is Davis from his patch, right? So put it all together, you now have his full name. We thought it would be funny to call him something nerdy. Not that Norman and Walter are nerds.
Sounds like you're saying that.
But as far as we're concerned, that's his name.
Shout out to Walter Matthau.
Some people are named Billy Joel or
Norman
Billy
Gunston.
Jack. His name is Norman Walter Davis.
Harriman.
Yeah, well, that comes later. That comes another few seasons later. But up until this
Right.
point,
Yeah.
Norman Walter Davis.
Oh, thanks, Graham.
Thanks, Graham.
Big togs.
Stay
Big
sweaty.
togs.
Yeah, he's got massive togs.
Are togs something else that I don't know about?
No, they're
Dogs?
No.
swimmers.
Do swimwear?
Yeah, yeah,
He's got
yeah.
massive
Yeah,
swimwear.
Heaps
Yeah.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
big togs. Look at the size of those togs.
Said no one ever.
Hey, big togs. How's it going?
I'll take you. I mean, I would have said big dog, but okay, I'll take your word for it.
No.
Man, I've never seen togs that big before. I mean, I've seen medium
Oh,
togs, but Jesus.
I'm so confused.
To house the big balls. That's what we're getting at here. It's time to find out if Rhys has been paying attention. All right, Rhys. 5 questions for you. 30 seconds on the clock. Time starts at the end of this one.
Okay.
In 2001, what is the word Daniel couldn't translate?
Oh, sterility.
Correct. What is the binary number for the Ashen homeworld?
Ooh. P4C970.
Correct. What did the farmer offer Daniel to remove the iron root?
Oh, the jug of his bloody milk water shit.
Ooh,
Really?
so close.
I said it 5 times.
Who was the first Ashen SG-1 met?
Oh, boring.
Correct. According to Carter, what is the maximum distance you can dial without a DHD?
3 million light years. 300 million light
Oh, so close. It's actually 300 light years. And I would have accepted 27,000 million kilometres.
Yeah, which you were very close to saying.
Yeah.
So
years.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I was about to say.
You didn't say that. Or I would have accepted 9.461 times 10 to the power of 12 kilometres times 300. Or
Do you know, do you know what I,
2.7 kilometres.
do you know what I would have accepted?
Or really, really far away. You should have said that.
Do you know what I would have accepted? Because I said it 5 times. Fucking sweet water. Milk water? Milk water.
Matty.
Rhys.
Matty.
Rhys, look at me.
Your father made you wrong!
Milk water.
You stupid son of a bitch.
Milk water.
Said a jug of milk water shit.
How many times did
Oh
I
my
say
God.
sweet water in the last
What is
hour?
sweet water?
cordial, mate. You could have said cordial.
It's their version of lemonade, mate.
Kool-Aid, man. It's Kill
Jesus.
Kool-Aid.
See, did you get it? He was drinking the Kool-Aid about
It's
it.
Mafana
people.
Sweetwater.
Right.
Not as good as Coddy's, obviously, but pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking milk water. Jesus Christ.
Where do you get that shit from? Far out.
No, it's called skim milk. That's all skim milk is. It's you get a 2-litre bottle.
Yeah.
You fill it with a litre of full cream milk. Then you fill the rest with water. Bang! You've got yourself some skim milk.
Absolutely, you do.
I don't know. Sweetwater
That's milk
sounds
water.
better than cordial
That's milk
to
water.
me. It's just like water, but just a little bit sweet.
Sweet water you get from massive togs.
Yeah, oh god, yeah.
No, it sounds.
Hey,
you get,
pull out your
no,
sweet
you get
water.
milk water from massive dogs.
All right, that's episode 99. Yes, 99 of Get Into Geek. Next time is our 100th episode. Join us back next week.
Yeah,
100
baby.
episodes
Is it though?
of Get Into Gate. Hey, look, this is how it rolls. Episode 100. Whatever. We're talking about desperate measures and a full celebration of all things that has been this podcast. Look, we've been having fun, us 4. We've had 3
Sometimes.
fifth men coming along the way, but everyone that has been listening so far, we'll thank you next week properly. But you've gotten us here to episode 100, so we're going to celebrate it it next week. In the meantime, you can catch all of our old podcasts, all 99, and the extras along the way on any podcasting outlet that you may subscribe to. You can catch us on the socials, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search Get Into Gate, a Stargate podcast.
And if you want,
Mitch.
you can. There's 2001 reasons why you can jump on Patreon.
Oh, that sure is.
See, I was going to say, hey, Mitch, could you possibly say we've got 99 podcasts and Origins ain't one?
Finally had a mic.
Noticeably FAT strikes.
Noticeably.
Biggie Bigs in the house, yo.
Biggie Big Dogs.
Now, before we do say a proper goodbye, I just want to
hang
wrap
on,
up.
Isn't Origins one of them? Origins is 3 of them.
Yeah, but it's not one of our 99.
No, it's not.
Right.
According, it
True.
doesn't fit into
That's-
Brendan's
oh, you've-
spreadsheet, so that's why.
Yeah,
It's a special, baby.
We'll talk about it next week. It makes
Biggie
no
Big's
sense.
got me on a technicality there.
Speaking of Patreon, we got a couple of new patrons to welcome on board.
Oh, God, yeah.
The Kerrigan Meister, Rob Kerrigan.
Rob.
Welcome on, sir.
House
Long
of
time listener
Serenity.
too. He did send us a message saying, "Look, I've been listening for a long time, but I'm finally in position to, just to thank you guys for all the podcasts and jump into Patreon. So really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
Rob is a frequent on the socials as well.
He is.
Absolutely.
Always been
contributing.
present.
Oh,
as
Rob
well.
mentioned that he's been here with us since episode 8.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So cracking on weekly
Even I
with
wasn't
us.
listening it then. So
No, me neither.
Absolutely not.
And then we went away for 3 weeks, so I don't know how I came back.
he really hung on, didn't he? He
Yeah.
was, yeah.
So welcome, Rob, and also Eric Distra as well for joining us here the last
Welcome.
couple of
Eric.
weeks. So thank you. Welcome along to the Patreon family, as Brendan
Not
said.
Eddie, though.
Eddie.
It's not Eddie. It's Eric.
Eric.
Yeah.
That's what he said, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm just saying Maddie likes to change Eric to Eddie
Oh,
sometimes.
that's true. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
No, well, clearly, if I'm gonna give him a nickname,
Yeah.
then it's gonna be from his last name.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
Dicko or Dicker.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah,
You know?
Yes.
Well,
Welcome along.
The reason I
Dick-
call
Dicko's a nickname. Dick is more of a demand.
Dicker, not Dick her.
Oh.
Sorry, Dicko.
Hey, it's 2018. Dick him. It's fine.
Right, if you want, yeah.
Dick them.
It's up to you.
Dick them all.
Now, I might go into some of the greater responses to the following question in our next mailbag chat. In our next mailbag episode, which will be coming up very, very soon. But being episode 99, following on from last week's Between Two Fires, I just wanted to run through the results from our poll. A very important question from last week, boys. Is Nareem and his Carter Alexa cute or creepy? We spoke a lot about it in the podcast last week. We were pretty unanimous. It's creepy as fuck, right?
Yeah, I got you.
But we put it out there for our listeners who were giving us a lot of feedback anyway. We put up official polls across our social pages, and the results are in. On Facebook, with 12% of the vote, cute. Nareem is 88% creepy, according to our Facebook contributors.
Yeah, and I got to say, it's only for the last episode. I don't think that was kind of
Well,
Oh, no, absolutely. No, I think
for the entirety of the
generally
series.
we love Nareem, but it's
Yeah.
just based purely on his weird fascination that become his home
Yeah, it was unhealthy.
computer. On our Twitter poll, 78% say creepy, 22% say cute. So a little bit kinder to him there. And it was pretty much the same way on our Instagram poll, 81% creepy and 19% cute. So thank you for your votes. And if you are listening to Nareem, or the actor who plays him, we're very sorry that your farewell was creepy.
Garwin Sanford.
Something like
I want
that.
to say.
Yes, yep.
Now just a
Garwin.
comment. Garwin, yeah, whatever.
Samford.
Just something that someone
Samsonite.
put on our Facebook
Wow.
page. Just on the poll, VM Conlon on our Facebook page actually made a good point. Said creepy in a non-threatening way, with a question mark. Like he's creepy,
Plenty of them out there.
Look,
But
they're
like
all
he's-
non-threatening until they're threatening.
It's called grooming.
but I can't see him going like full like Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs. Like he's not that kind of creepy. He's intense.
Is Buffalo Bill creepy, or is he like psychotic?
Yeah, but all I'm saying
dangerous.
is,
Yeah, I know what you
I'm not
mean,
going to. We're not going to see him like have Carter in a hole in his, in his basement, going it rubs the lotion on the skin, or else he
Not
gets
the
the
real
hose.
Carter, but as we discussed last week, his Carter bots. He's got a surplus amount of them.
I mean, maybe that's just how they do it in Tolana.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's true.
Maybe it's just weird to us because
Maybe,
we're
yeah.
not used to it.
Would you f me? I'd f me.
Isolate that. Thank you. And also to our boy Kenneth Pricer, who is already a patron, but was very kind to
Yeah, well done, buddy.
bump up his contributions actually during the week. So
Thank you
whatever,
very
look,
much.
whatever we did over the last couple of weeks.
Wasn't
he was
much.
Very, very impressed. The Price Master. So thank you, Kenneth.
Price
Price is wrong, bitch. I'm sure he hasn't heard that before.
Kenny
No,
P
never.
in the house.
All right, we'll see you back next week. Episode 100 of Get Into Geek.
Oh,
Sort
the
of.
big one.
Sort of.
Why sort of? 100 plus specials.
Yeah.